Hello students, today we are going to continue our second chapter in OCM. This is the second lecture, and in today's lecture we are going to learn scientific principles of management that is given by Mr. Frederick W. Taylor. Okay, see in your textbook the next topic after concept is nature, importance, and then the different thoughts related to principles of management, that is theory, classical theory, neoclassical theory, and modern, right? But I'm taking the topic of scientific principles of management, so that first we are going to learn that principles that are given by Taylor and Fayol, Henry Fayol. Okay, and then we are going to continue nature and importance of principles and the various theories, right? So it will be easy for you to understand that what these principles about, what are the characteristics of the principle, what is the importance of the principles. Okay, fine. So today we are going to start with the scientific principles of management given by Mr. Frederick W. Taylor. Starting with the introduction, right? See, Mr. Taylor, he was what? He was an American mechanical engineer, right? And he was the what? He was the important contributor towards the classical thoughts. Now, what are classical thoughts? Classical thoughts that are that which are limited or that till the end of the 19th century, that are considered as what? That are considered as the classical thoughts. Okay, right? And as I said, that management is what? It is the a particular subject of a study, experiment. Same way, principles of management, they are also what? They are also experiment, right? And this Taylor, Mr. Taylor, what he has done, he has started from what? From the bottom level of management, that is that apprentice in a factory, right? That he was what? He was the one kind of apprentice. That means he started at the workers level. He understood the things, right? Okay, what are the things that are going on in the industry, what can be changed in that industry, that is a business unit. Okay, right? And he became manager in the Bethlehem company after contributing towards what? After contributing towards the various different types of companies, or as a that that starting from the bottom level, he went to up to the manager level, right? He became manager in the Bethlehem company. And Mr. Taylor, he observed the thing, right? What are the measures that can be taken to increase the productivity of owners and workers, right? So he was the first person who has given or who has presented the principle of scientific management, and that is why he is known as what? He is known as the father of scientific management, right? Father of scientific management. Okay, see the traditional method that were going on, where that workers, they were what? They were that doing the work and without any kind of asking questions. Owners, that workers, they are owners and workers, they are what? They don't have that particular harmonious relationship between them. Okay, so Taylor, he observed such things. He thought yes, there can be what? There can be productivity that can be increased, right? By putting some sort of efforts at the owner's part or at the workers part. Okay, right? And he presented what? He presented the scientific principles of management, and that is why he is known as father of scientific management. Okay, so normally, right now also the two classes are there is owners and workers, right? And owners, they are what? That we can say they are the managers who are going to manage, who are going to own the business. And workers, they will be what? They will be coming to the organization and doing a work for whom? For the owners, right? And the main purpose of owner, that will be what? That will be profit, that we know, right? Thereby, that is a basic thing that each and every owner or a manager, they are trying to what? They are trying to achieve. That is what? That is to maximize the profit, to increase, to maximize what? To maximize the wealth. While employees, what they are going to do, they are only interested in what? They are only interested in the higher amount of wages, that yes, if I'm going to get wage, I'm going to do anything, right? They are not going to think onto the other part, yeah, that what are the conditions of a work, what is the salary or what is the wage of the other workers, right? Nothing. What they are thinking, yes, I'm getting the wage, I'm going to do the job. My job satisfaction is what? My job satisfaction is only limited up to what? Up to limited to this particular specific wages, right? owners, they were considering the workers, they're considering that particular bottom level person as a what, as a machinery, right? Okay, yes, they are going, they're exploiting whom, they're exploiting the particular part of, on the part of whom, on the part of the workers, right? They're not going to think about that worker as a human. There was no any kind of harmonious relationship that has been developed. Getting my point, right? And as a result, the conflict that is going to what, that is going to arise between two groups, right? That what is the main thing, that owners, they only want to what, they only want to get that profit, right, on any cost. So there was a provision of that, that workers, they are not doing their work properly, then they will be punished, right? They will be out of the job, that is dismissed. They are going to what, they are not going to have any kind of promotion. They were no any kind of that justice or a voice against the owners. They are what, the workers, they were what, they were dominating on the part of whom, dominating on the part of the workers, that yes, they need to do the work, and then only they are going to get wage, otherwise not. Same way, workers, what they believe, okay, yes, we are getting the wage, whatever the thing, that yes, we are working for 8 hours, 10 hours, or a 12 hour, that is not an issue. We are going to get what, we are going to get wage, and we are going to have the job satisfaction, right? So this traditional method, that is what, the traditional method that was challenged by whom, challenged by Mr. Frederick Taylor, right? See, rule of thumb, understand this thing, this question, it can be asked into 2 mark of a question. What is rule of thumb? So definition of rule of thumb is what, that is, workers were asked to do the work as per order in traditional method, which is called as what, which is called as a rule of thumb, traditional method. That means, yes, the order that has been came from the managers or from the owners, workers, they need to do the strictly work without any kind of asking a question, right? But this traditional method, that was what, that was challenged by Mr. Taylor. That what he thought, there must be some change that will be there on the part of the workers as well as on the part of the owners, right? That the rule of thumb is, it is said that yes, they need to what, they need to ask, or they need to do the work without any kind of asking a question. That is, there is no voice, there was no voice of the workers, and dominance of owners, that has been what, that has been increased, right? See, if it is asked in 1 mark, what is rule of thumb, then simple, okay, workers were asked to do the work as per order in traditional method, which is called as rule of thumb. But if it is asked in 2 marks, then you need to write all this point, right? That is traditional work. Then Frederick Taylor, he has worked on it, right? And he said, okay, yes, there must be a change that can be there, right? But what was happening in the rule of thumb, that is, no voice of the workers, right? That workers, they don't have any kind of voice. They need to what, they need to follow the orders of their owners, right? If they are not satisfied with that particular thing, then also they don't have any right, because they have fear of what, they have a fear of losing a job, they have a fear of not getting a wage, not getting a salary on time or on a proper rate, okay, right? So ultimately, the dominance of the workers, that has been the dominance of the owners, that has been what, that has been increased, and workers, they were being what, they were being exploited. So this time, Taylor, he presented what, he presented the concept of scientific approach instead of rule of thumb, that is known as what, that is known as a scientific management. See, it's a simple thing, understand, okay, by yes, scientific management, that means what, okay, yes, there must be the work that need to be taken by a scientific way, proper planning, implementation, it will be done on the part of the employee as well as on the part of the owners also. They need to understand, what, they need to understand, okay, by how they are going to do the work with the minimum cost and with the maximum output. Workers, they were considered as what, they were considered as the part of the family of the owners. All these things that come under what, they come under the scientific management, right? Okay, yes, workers, they do have voice, they need to ask question, they need to ask the particular things, that yes, how to follow the instruction. If not found properly, then they can tell to what, they can tell to owners. Because as we have seen in the first chapter also, in the second chapter also, that human behavior, that is there, the human that is there at the center, if they are satisfied, then any business unit can get what, can get success, okay, right? So next is meaning and definition of scientific management. Okay, understand this thing, that management, scientific management is what? It is a mental revolution on the part of the particular unit of employees in a factory. Understand, mental revolution. Now what is mental revolution? That is a complete change in the thinking of employees. See, that mainly it was focused on what, that Taylor, it was he was focused on what, he was focused on the particular that on the part of the employees, on the workers, right? But this mental revolution, that was there on the part of the owners too. Okay, right? And that how this mental revolution that has been taken place on the part of the worker, that is towards their task, towards their duty, towards their colleague, and towards their owners. Okay, task, that whatever the task that they need to perform in their daily routine activity, their duties, that whatever the role that has been assigned by the superiors, their colleagues, their co-workers, right? The behavior that has been changed, and towards what? Towards the owners. Okay, they will try to understand okay, what the owners they are trying to say, what the owners that they are giving the instruction, on what basis they are setting this kind of objective, everything that need to be conveyed. And as a part of an employee, and in the scientific management, that has been what? That has been created what? That has been created the particular harmonious relationship or the coordination between employee, that is worker, and owners, that has been what? That has been increased. Getting my point, right? And the definition of scientific management given by Taylor, that is what? Knowing exactly what you want your man to do. To know, okay, yes, there must be a proper plan. Okay, this much of a production that need to be there by the end of the month of May. Okay, right? So that is what, that is your plan, and you know okay, what are the capability or the caliber of the employee, those who are going to perform. So that is what, that is as knowing your man, knowing that exactly what you want your man to do, and then to see whatever the task that you have assigned, whatever the task that you are assigning to them, they are going to do on a regular basis, giving their best, and in a cheapest way. See this term, cheapest way, it is necessary. Why? Because see, if the cost of production that is decreasing, so obviously the margin of profit that is going to increase, and the when margin of profit is going to increase, obviously the productivity of the company, of the business unit, that is going to what? That is going to increase. Okay, right? So meaning that is what? Yes, it is a mental revolution on the part of a particular unit or employees, unit of that employees of a factory, in a factory, right? And definition, that is knowing your man, that what you want to do them exactly. And then once the task that has been assigned, once you have informed them, given the order, then you need to look that as a what? As a owner, you need to look after them. That is, whatever the task that has been assigned, they are being done in a best way and in a cheaper way. Okay, is it clear? Right? Traditional method, that was what? That was rule of thumb. As I said, it can be asked in the 2-mark question. Workers, they were asked to do what? They were asked to do the work as per the traditional method or traditional way. There was no voice, there was dominance of the workers, right? Everything that is called as rule of thumb. That rule of thumb, that was challenged by Taylor, and new concept that is emerged, that is known as what? That is known as scientific management. And what is scientific management? That is knowing your man exactly what you want to do them, right? And to see that whether whatever the task that has been assigned, it has been done in the best and the cheapest way. Okay, clear? Fine. And for this, right, understanding things, this, all these 3 points, they are interconnected, right? That for the successful implementation of the scientific management, see, challenge it will be there when the new concept that has been there will be resistance to change, that workers, that owners, they are not going to accept it easily, right? So for that, he has given what? He has given that particular 3 that matters or thoughts, or we can say guidelines, that how it can be done, how the scientific management that can be what? That can be implemented in the business unit or in the organization. First, every worker, they should be assigned work as per his mental and physical ability. Mental and physical, that is intellectual as well as that physical ability of an employee. That yes, some workers, they are working, they can work up to 8 hours or 10 hours. Some people, they have the mental capacity of taking a decision logically. they are going to what, they are going to take decision on their own. If they are, that fixed, there will be some situation, there will be some work, right? As we have seen, that bottom level of worker, they are what, they are particularly doing a repairing and a maintenance task, right? So when these things are hurt, and that machines, that are going to break out, or whatever the thing it will be there, then these people, those who are mentally stable, or they have that particular power, that have that qualification of taking the decision at the right time, those person must be assigned that much of a task. That is, they can be asked as a duty of a supervisor, right? The person who are able to work at 8 hours a day, then they can be what, they can be employed in a physical ability, right? Same way, see, take an example of us, that is, some of you, or very few of you, you have that capacity to read and to study around 4 to 5 hours continuously, right? Rest of the people, they are going to sit for 4 hours, but they are going to, they are going to go for the break. Yeah, I am hungry, I need to go to this, let me check WhatsApp, let me check that particular thing, what is the Insta status. Same way in the lecture only, that continuous 1 hour lecture will be there, then around 4 to 5 people, they are going to go to the washroom. That is, so accordingly, when they are going to what, they are going to manage, they are going to that deal with the human resource manpower, the task that will be assigned on the basis of what, on the basis of their physical and mental ability. Okay. Second, that is, they are instructed to perform maximum work as per category, right? See, category, it will be decided who will be considered in which level, and whatever the level that they are going to consider, right? Whatever the task, whatever the role, whatever the designation that has been assigned to them, they must work properly, and maximum work they need to give. Okay, right? And last and important one, that is, each worker doing efficient work rapidly should be paid more wage, that is more than 30% to 100%. Understand this, right? Divide this into two, that is skilled worker and unskilled workers, right? Skilled workers must be paid more wages than the unskilled one. Getting my point? Okay, suppose I'm working for an 8 hour, I'm producing 8 units per day, right? And the other person who is working 8 hours and producing only 4 units per day. So obviously you can identify now that who is the person, or who is the employee who is more productive. Obviously that 8 hours, 8 unit per day and 4 unit per day, that is what, that is, they are very less productive. So that I am producing 8 units per day, so I must be getting what, I must be getting the more wages than the other one. So it will what, it will create that particular superiority. They are going to what, they are going to increase the job satisfaction among the skilled workers. Okay, getting my point? So see, this principle, that is Mr. Taylor, he has given the concept of what, he has given the concept of that, mostly that is based on the financial motivation, right? That physical and mental ability, that need to be, that is psychological thing. Another second, that is maximum work, that need to be, that is a physical thing. And third one, that is last one, that is what, that financial motivation, that need to be given to whom, to the skilled workers, to the skilled employees. If they are not doing so, then there will be a chaos, right? If there is no any kind of difference between horses and a donkey, then obviously there will be a question, right? Same way, skilled and unskilled worker, they need to identify, and skilled worker, they must be paid more wages than the unskilled one. Okay, so these are the what, these are the 3 guidelines, these are the 3 matters or thought that has been given by whom, by the Taylor, for the successful successful implementation of what, successful implementation of the scientific management instead of traditional management. Okay, clear? Fine. Then let's start with the principles of scientific management. And what are the principles that has been given, the guidelines that is given by whom, by the Mr. Taylor. First, scientific method. See, this we have seen in that 3 conditions, right? That scientific method should be adopted, that is, okay, they will be what, they will be physical and mental ability, they need to see whether they are going to they are going to distribute the task, right? Plus some method for analyzing the work, that whether whatever the thing that they are doing, what are the machineries that they are going to use, how to use it maximum, or the maximum utilization of resources that they are going to have. Everything that will be what, that will be calculated on the basis of the scientific method instead of what, instead of traditional one, right? And scientific method, that is what is the main motive of it, that is to get the best work done by analyzing the work scientifically. Okay, right? See, every time it is not that, that see, there is a one thing that learn, always do hard work, but smart work is also necessary. Getting my point, right? It is not like, yeah, the person who is reading 8 hours a day, they are going to get good marks. No, it is not like that. Some few people, they are going to do the smart work, right? They can what, they can learn, they can read, they can write easily, they can remember easily, right? So same way, scientific methods should be adopted, right? Okay, by how to do the work, whatever the category they are going to, what they are going to have, that bifurcation of that categories, that this much, these workers, they are going to do this, that is physical work, and some people, they are going to do the mental, that is intellectual work, and then accordingly they are going to distribute the work. That is called as what? That is called as a scientific method. Okay, getting my point. Second, planning and implementation, right? That is, I have make you understand of this thing, that implementation, that means administration, right? That planning, what planning is all about, what planning is all about, that yes, they are going to what, they are going to manage how to do, when to do, who is going to do everything, and whatever the plan that has been made by whom, by the owners, by the expert, right? That should be followed by the subordinates, that is employees or the workers. They need to what, they need to follow that whatever the orders, or whatever the things that has been given by whom, by the owners. Getting my point? So planning, that is different, implementation, that is different. Okay, everything that need to be what, that be done at the part of whom, at the part of the expert person, that is owners. Workers, they were only asked, yes, see, we have designed this scientifically, this thing that you need to do in this much of a time and with the available resources, right? So that confusion in the mind of employees, that are not going to arise, right? Okay, suppose for an example, okay, if I'm telling you that yes, you need to what, you need to prepare this much of a question, I'm not telling you the weightage, so how you are going to read, right? If I'm giving you proper instruction, okay, this many questions, each question is of this mark and etc., then you can prepare it accordingly. Same way, in the company, in the business unit, what Taylor suggested, okay, planning, that should be done on the part of the owners, that is the expert person, and implementation, that is administration, that will be done by whom, that will be done by the workers. Okay, right? Third, that is job analysis. See, before understanding the job analysis, let us understand what is job description. Okay, suppose for an example, okay, I'm going for a particular job, I am getting the particular list. Okay, yes, your designation is so and so, your work hours are like this, your duties are this, you need to inform this person, you need to what, you need to have that particular this designation, on that designation you need to perform every day this much of activity. Okay, suppose for an example, okay, I am a teacher, so I will be instructed, okay, yes, you are going to take eco and OC, and you need to finish up the syllabus in this time. Your designation is assistant teacher, your job working, that is your timing, that is from 7:50 to 4:30, everything that is mentioned, right? So that is what, that is a job description, and on the basis of job description, job analysis will be done, right? Okay, if I'm doing the work, how I'm doing the work, right? Okay, yes, there will be a specific report that will be generated, right? Okay, yes, I have finished up this much of a chapter during this month, and I'm going to take test of it. By the end of November or by the end of December, this subject, that will be what, the complete syllabus, that will be finished. So that is what, that is a scientific way to what, to do the analysis of the job, of the work that has been assigned to whom, that has been assigned to the worker or assigned to the employee, right? And this productivity, that can be increased through what, through the time study, motion study, and fatigue study. Understand, time study, that is what, by how much time that I need to take. Like suppose for example, I am preparing, or I am producing the 8 units per day, and I am taking 8 hours. That means in 1 hour I am putting out what, I am putting out the 1 unit, right? That is time study, to observe by how much of a time that has been taken by the employee. Motion study, motion, that means that movement, unnecessary movement, that need to be avoided. If it is not avoided, then there will be what, there will be problem of a productivity, there will be question of a productivity, right? And last, that is fatigue. Fatigue, that means that boredom, right? If you are continuously doing one thing continuously, then there will be what, there will be fatigue that is going to arise, that boredom that is going to be there, right? So accordingly, the job analysis, that will be prepared, right? Yes, continue 2 hours, you are going to do your task, then you are going to have that refreshment break, then again 2 hours you are going to have your lunch break, after 2 hours you are going to have another tea break, and then you will be leaving the company, right? See, that around 8 hours or 10 hours of a day, that is a job that will be there in the company or in the business unit, right? So this thing, that is what, that is a job analysis. Okay, yes, how much time that you are going to take, you are not going to have that unnecessary movement in the company, and no fatigue will be there if proper breaks are given, right? Ultimately it will reduce what, it will reduce the cost of production, and that is going to increase the productivity of whom, that is going to increase the productivity of the business unit. Okay, then fourth principle, that is standardization. See, a standard method that need to be adopted. Okay, suppose for an example, okay, the first unit of a production, right, first unit, that and last unit of a production, that must be what, that must be with the same quality, same size and same color. That is what, that is a standardization, right? If you taste anything, that, yeah, Coke or a Pepsi or that ice cream, everything, that every time you are tasting, you are getting what, every time you are having that particular thing, whether it's ice cream or whether it's a particular this kind of cold drinks, the taste is the same. So what they have done, they have adopted the standard method. Okay, yes, our production that will go through this process only, right? There will be no change, there will be no bifurcation, right? Workers, they will be instructed by this, okay, yeah, you are going to have that training, you are going to have that knowledge, okay, yes, this is the standard way, this is the standard method, right? And what, simplicity, it must be there. A simple production system or a production process, if it is implemented, then the production unit, they can what, they can easily achieve the success. Getting my point, right? And how standardization that will be done, okay, by equipment that are going to done, that will be same every time. Time, that how much time that a person is taking, situation of work and resources that are available, right, with whom, with the business unit. This much of a matters they are considered, and for what purpose, for standardization. Okay, right? So this is the fourth principle. Then next is scientific selection and training. Understand this thing, right? Okay, what is scientific selection? Scientific selection, that means to know, okay, yes, we have a requirement of production department with the production background experience, 10 numbers of people that are required, and the timing will be this, and this much of a wages or a salary that will be given. Now what are the qualities that are required? That is, what is education of employee, what is the skill, guts, that physical strength, the training, that are what, everything that will be considered under what, that will be considered under the scientific selection. Scientific selection is important. Why? Because ultimately it is going to increase the productivity of the employee as well as of the business unit. Because when the person who is have that particular experience, who has have that knowledge of handling the machine or handling the department, then there will be less expense, or there will be avoid of what, that they can avoid the wastage of resources that are available. And when I say resource, I have clearly told you that man and a material, right? If man, their experience, that is manpower, material is going to be saved, that is the wastage of material, it will not be there. Getting my point, right? And training, that is a theoretical and a practical knowledge that need to be given time to time, to whom, to the workers, to the employees, so that their skill that can be enhanced, that efficiency that is going to what, that is going to increase. They can what, they can increase their knowledge, they can put that knowledge into practice, and they can get the success, right? That if I'm getting a training time to time, that how to handle the machine, how to increase the productivity, it will give you what, it will give you the maximum benefit in the way of what, in the way of efficiency, right? That less errors in the work. When less error will be there, obviously what is going to be the outcome? The outcome is simple, that particular resources, that is the raw material, that will be avoided, and manpower, they can what, they can work. Job satisfaction, ultimately that is going to increase when the scientific selection and the training that will be given to them. Okay, clear? Next, sixth one, that is financial motivation. See, as I said, mostly Taylor and Fayol, whatever the theory that they have given, that the classical theory contributors, right, they have mainly contributed, or they have mainly focused on what, they have focused on the financial motivation, right? So various that wage scheme that need to be introduced, or that need to be recommended for whom, for the skilled workers, right? So that the satisfaction amongst the employee, that is going to increase amongst the skilled employees. The unskilled person, they will be what? They will be try to increase their knowledge, try to increase their efficiency by doing a less error. So ultimately, it is the win-win situation for whom? Win-win situation for both. Okay, suppose for example, I am earning less than the other person. Okay, yeah, I am earning 200 rupees per day. Other person is earning 400 rupees per day. So I will try to find out, okay, yes, what is the thing that he is doing? How he is improving his knowledge? How he is improving his skill? If I learn that thing, then I can also earn 400 rupees, right? That will be there. That is the benefit for the owner as well as the individual person or the unskilled worker. Skilled worker, he will be having that satisfaction, that intellectual job satisfaction. Okay, yes, I am getting the more salary, more wage than the other person who are less skilled than me. So for that, a proper wage system that need to be adopted on the basis of what? On the basis of the individual productivity, right? If I have a more experience, I have that more skill, then I must be getting more salary than the other person. That is simple. Getting my point, right? And next, seventh is economical. See, every owner, they need to focus on what? They need to focus on decreasing the production cost, the low production cost. That is what? By cost price per unit, that need to be what? That need to be very lower. Then and then the margin of profit, that is going to what? That is going to increase, right? And for that, cost estimation, cost control, this should be considered. Deviation, that whatever the things that are deviation, there is no any kind of proper channel of allocating the finance, that is there the particular one specific department, they are incurring a huge cost, then they should have that particular control. Cost estimation, it will be there, so that they are going to what? They are going to find out the particular budget, they are going to find out the fund capital from what? From the market, right? And control, that need to be taken. Whatever the deviations that has been found during control, those deviation must be removed, and corrective action, that need to be what? That need to be taken. Corrective action, right? That controlling is a positive aspect that we have learned in the first chapter, right? During that, before the introduction of scientific principles of management, it was a negative concept. Why? Because workers, they were what? They were having that fear of what? Fear of a punishment, right? So that was challenged, the traditional method, that was challenged by Mr. Taylor by giving what? By giving the scientific principles of management. So how economical way, or the how the low production that can be get low production cost, that is by cost estimation, cost control methods, and deviation that need to be found and that should be removed, and corrective action that need to be introduced, right? That is the seventh principle. Then next and last principle, that is mental revolution. See, understand that mental revolution, that means what? Mental revolution, that means, as I said, there will be a what? There will be a complete change in the thinking, that psychology of the workers as well as employees, workers as well as the owners, right? That owners and workers, they are what? They are one part of a family, that is one part of a management, right? Workers, they need to be given what? Workers, they need to be given the equal importance, that is what? That is the as well as the owners. And on the part of the workers, their duties, their tasks, their colleagues, right? That owners, that the way they behave, the that thinking towards the particular various roles and responsibility, that has been completely changed, right? And what is the main benefit of this mental revolution? That it reduces the stress between owners and workers, and due to that, the achievement of goal, that is going to what? That is going to be achieved easily. And when it is achieved easily, obviously that productivity of a business unit and employee, that is going to increase, right? So these are the 8 principles that has been given by Mr. Frederick W. Taylor, right? And they are known as what? They are known as the scientific principles of management. He was the first one who has introduced this scientific management principle. That is why he is known as the father of scientific management, right? Just go through all these things, go through all these points, right? Copy these notes in your notebook, and if you have any doubt, you can feel free to call me or message me, right? In the next lecture, we are going to see the various technique that has been given by Taylor for achievement or successful implementation of these principles of management, as well as to increase the productivity of the workers, right? And Fayol's principles of management. There are mainly 14 principles are there. So in the next lecture, I am going to cover these techniques. That is, we have seen time study, motion study, fatigue study, right? And the total activities that has been divided by Mr. Taylor, sorry, Mr. Fayol. Okay, right? So that's it for today, right? If you have any doubt, please let me know. Okay, thank you.